Welcome to Hypothetically Speaking, a channel that doesn't provide answers but explores possibilities. Here, it's not about proving what is, but imagining what could be. Today, we turn to the human disharmony hypothesis, the idea that what we call suffering, confusion, and brokenness in life are not random accidents, but manifestations of a deeper fracture in the relationship between consciousness and the body that carries it. The human disharmony hypothesis begins from the standalone consciousness hypothesis, which holds that consciousness is not produced by matter, but exists as a reality in its own right. The body is its vessel, the mind its stage, but consciousness itself is prior. When the relationship between consciousness and body is smooth, life flows easily. But when that relationship is fractured, we experience disharmony, a state where being human feels heavy, distorted, or torn apart from itself. Disharmony expresses itself in countless ways. In the mental realm, it appears as restlessness when desire never meets fulfillment. It grows into anxiety when the future presses down with threats we cannot resolve. It deepens into grief when love collapses into loss. It darkens into hatred when compassion shrivels and resentment rules. It confuses us in despair when possibility seems extinguished. And it isolates us in loneliness when our inner voice echoes unanswered. In all these forms, disharmony is consciousness unable to rest in itself, twisted by tension and fragmentation. In the bodily realm, disharmony takes on the shape of pain, when nerves scream louder than the silence beneath them. It lingers in fatigue, when life's energy drains away. It constricts in sickness, when the body betrays its role as the vessel of vitality. It manifests in hunger, thirst, and deprivation, when the flow of nourishment is blocked. It hardens in tension, when muscles refuse to release. It cages us in limitation, when movement is restrained, breath is shallow, or freedom of motion is lost. Here, disharmony is not just physical trouble. It is the body pulling consciousness down into struggle and fragmentation. Unlike harmony, which feels expansive, disharmony feels contracted. It narrows our world, turning the open field of possibility into a closed circle of preoccupation. It bends our attention inward, forcing us to wrestle with what is wrong rather than resting in what is right. It makes us feel alien in our own skin, as though consciousness and body are no longer one, but at odds with each other. We can see the roots of disharmony even in everyday life. A child, once radiant in unbroken joy, may suddenly fall into tantrum when hunger, fatigue, or frustration intrudes. That outburst is disharmony, the sudden fracture of unity. In adulthood, the same principle unfolds in subtler ways, in stress at work, in broken trust between friends, in the gnawing ache of illness, or the silent sting of rejection. Disharmony is not foreign to us, it is woven into the texture of human life. But perhaps the deepest feature of disharmony is that it does not merely hurt, it disorients. It clouds perception, making us forget that peace was ever possible. It turns shadows into the whole landscape, convincing us that fracture is the truth of being rather than its distortion. In this way, disharmony is not only suffering, but also confusion, a veil that hides the memory of what life can be when whole. The human disharmony hypothesis, then, does not treat suffering as a meaningless accident, but as a structural state, the condition that arises when consciousness is blocked, when the body falters, or when relationships with others rupture. Disharmony is the human experience of fragmentation. If this hypothesis is true, then suffering is not just pain, it is disconnection. It is the falling out of tune of a being meant for resonance. To study disharmony is to face the broken notes in the human song, the distortions that teach us what it means to be whole by their very absence. And perhaps, in recognizing disharmony clearly, we also come to value the harmony that waits behind it, ready to be uncovered. If this idea resonates with you, Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's expand our vision of the human nature together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next idea. Thank you for watching Hypothetically Speaking. If you enjoyed this exploration, remember, we don't deal in answers here, only in possibilities. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep your mind open.